Hey, what's up guys? I'm Clayton. This is my movie review channel, and today we are going to be looking at Interstellar. This is a film released in 2014, directed by Christopher Nolan, starring Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, Michael Caine, and surprise appearance from another certain celebrity. I won't mention who in case you haven't seen the movie. I don't want to spoil it for you. But yeah, let's get into my thoughts, my review, my rating of Interstellar. I apologize about the setting here. I'm having to shoot this video in my car. I'm not in my typical shooting location, so apologize for that. A little bit of an inconvenience going on right now, but yeah. Interstellar, positives and negatives with this one. It was good to go back and rewatch this film. I hadn't seen it in a long time since I'd seen Interstellar, so I needed a fresh watch of this film to give my thoughts on it. So there are things that I really liked about this movie, and then things that kind of bothered me a little bit. We'll get into the negatives in a minute, but starting with the positives, as always. To me, the biggest positive with this film is the story. I think it's a beautiful story that's written here, really about faith and love, and how just a little faith can really save the world. You know, you look at the faith of Matthew McConaughey's little girl in this film, her faith in her dad, believing that he was out there, believing that he was listening to her videos, her tapes, not giving up hope, is what eventually saved the world. So you know, I love the story about never giving up hope, having faith, and that faith coming through love for those that you care about. And it really is a powerful story, a beautiful story that's worth telling, has some powerful things to say, and I think it's a fascinating story about love, and how love is immaterial. It's abstract. It's not created. You know, love transcends time and space and all things. It's love is not a created thing. It's not materialistic. And they kind of mention that even in the movie, how there are some things like love that were not created. And you know, and I think that's a message that we all need to hear. And I would say that I think that proves, as a Christian, I think that proves a divine creator. I think that proves you know, how that there is a higher power out there. You know, in spite of what scientists and secularists might say today, that, you know, about how we got here, and about, you know, how all there is what we can see, hear, touch. It's all materialistic, but they can't answer for things like love, things like joy, things like peace, things that are abstract, that are not material. These things like love, like joy, like peace, are universal languages that do not find its origins in man and human beings. We do not create love and faith and joy. These things are truths, abstract truths that are out there regardless of whether or not man is out there or not. And you don't just get those things from nowhere. Those things are not truths, are not feelings that are created over time, over evolutionary times, or whatever. They are there to point to a higher power. They're there to point to a divine creator. But yeah, so I really love the story in Interstellar. I think it's a beautiful story, worth telling, and a lot of good stuff in it. The visual effects are incredible. If you haven't seen this movie, it's definitely worth checking out just for the visual effects alone. There's some of the best visual effects I think you'll ever see in film, because it's almost all done with practical effects, not CGI stuff. The way that Nolan, the set pieces, the production design that were created for this film, and then the blending of the spaceship with the set pieces of space, and the way that they were able to blend the shots, and the effects are just truly incredible. I mean, it's really mind-blowing to think that most of what you're seeing was actually done, and not just the green screen, not just all CGI stuff, but that there was a lot of practical means in what you're seeing. So visual effects, production design, top notch. The score by Hans Zimmer is very good, very raw, very emotional and powerful. I really liked the score in this film as well. The cinematography, absolutely incredible. I think the shots and some of the stuff that Nolan was able to pull off in camera is just like, how do you pull off shots like that? It's just, I think it's just a testament to the commitment and dedication that Nolan and his crew have in getting the best shots for their films. So that's one reason, anytime you walk into a Nolan film, you're gonna get the tip of the spear level cinematography. There's never gonna be a Nolan film where the cinematography is just like, could have been better. You're not gonna get that in a Nolan film. All of his films are gonna have some of the best shots, best looking images on screen. It's a testament really to his directing of the shots and the skills of the DPs that he works with on his films. So yeah, really great stuff in the cinematography of this film. So yeah, all of those things were things I really liked. The acting, the positives in the acting for me, I think Michael Caine was wow. This might be his best performance in a Nolan film. I know that a lot of people liked him in Dark Knight Rises. He was really good in that, but man, the emotion that he brings in this film, particularly in the third act, is man, that will get you. That will get you. So yeah, his performance, very strong, positive. McConaughey was on point. His performance for me is kind of a mix here, not fully positive, but not fully negative. I don't think he really became a scientist, astronaut person, I think he made that character become Matthew McConaughey versus making Matthew McConaughey become his character, if that makes sense. And as an actor, that's the actor's job, is to become the character that they're playing, not to make the character become them. Now, what he did was still very good. He still brought a lot of emotion to the film. He's still entertaining. He's still McConaughey, and he's Matthew McConaughey, the person, is a very entertaining person and a very emotional person, and you definitely get that emotion in his performance, which is why it's kind of a mix. But if you're thinking about it technically, in his performance as an actor, and looking at what an actor's job is to do with the character that they're playing, you could make an argument that his performance wasn't that good, because again, he didn't really become that character. He made the character just become Matthew McConaughey, which is the reverse of what an actor's job really is. But so overall, I would say McConaughey's performance is a mix for me. I think there's parts of it that I liked. He definitely brought emotion to scenes. He is entertaining, but from the technical standpoint, I think he could have done better. But Michael Caine was a positive. Anne Hathaway was a positive. I did really like Anne Hathaway in this movie. I think she does a lot better in Interstellar than she did in The Dark Knight Rises. I don't think she was a very good Catwoman. I said that in my review of The Dark Knight Rises. I don't apologize for that. That's how I feel about her performance there. I stand by that. But I also said in that review that she is a talented actor, and I do think she does a really good job in Interstellar. I think she does a much better job at becoming her character, the doctor, scientist person. She's much more believable in that character than she was as Catwoman, and I think she does a better job than McConaughey does. Anne Hathaway actually plays the character that she's been given, and she actually becomes that character, and she's very believable and very good in that role. So she was a positive for me. Jessica Chastain was a positive. I think she did a really good job playing the adult version of McConaughey's daughter. So yeah, I did really like, overall, I liked the acting in this film. It was a positive for me as well. As far as the negatives go, there were a couple negatives. I do think this film has some filler in it. I don't think it needed to be a near 3-hour film. It's pushing 3 hours. I think it's like 2 hours and 48 minutes. It could have been trimmed down. There's definitely some filler. Some of the stuff in space that goes on could have been cut out. A particular role that comes into the film in the late second act didn't do a whole lot for the plot. I think they could have cut down some of that character's screen time, and they could have tightened the script there a little bit. Some of the stuff in the first act, like the parent-teacher conference towards the beginning with McConaughey and the teachers, did absolutely nothing for the film. You could have removed that whole scene and you would have had the exact same film. It didn't tell us anything we needed to know about any of the characters. So this movie definitely had some filler in it. It definitely had some stuff in there that didn't really do anything for the characters or the plot. Could have been removed, could have trimmed that runtime down, and would have had a better film. So it does feel drawn out for me, and feel, there's moments in there where I get a little bit restless, kind of want things to speed up a little bit. So I think they could have done better there. Um, I think, there's some characters like Matthew McConaughey's son that's kind of a wasted character. What did he do for the film? What did he do? He did nothing for the plot. If you took Matthew McConaughey's son out of the film, nothing changes. Absolutely nothing changes. So that is the definition of a wasted character. A character that absolutely serves no purpose for the plot or the story of the film. And that's exactly what his son does. So, yeah, it feels weird because Nolan is usually a guy that is very good about not having wasted characters in his film. That's one of the things I love about Nolan in his scripts, in his character writing, is he's very good at making sure every character in his films has a role to play in the story, in the script. Here, we don't get that. There's a couple of characters that I can think of that served no purpose to this film. You could have taken them out, you would have had the exact same thing, the exact same story happen, and nothing changes. So I think Nolan could have tightened up the script a little bit. Some of the dialogue in some places I thought was a little weak. So I think this may have been his weakest script writing so far. Not story, but script writing. I think he could have tightened some things up. But yeah, so there's some negatives there for me in my viewing experience. My other negative I do want to mention is this film is a very, very heavy film with a lot of emotion to it. And that's why my overall rating of this film is 3.5 stars. That's my rating for Interstellar. I give this movie 3.5 stars. I do think it's very good, but it's not 4-star tier for me. And one of those reasons is because it's not a film I find myself drawn to very often. There's a reason I hadn't seen this movie in years and years and years, because it's just not a movie that gives me a lot of great emotional feelings to it. This is a very somber, a very morose film, like a very depressing film. Even though there is some light at the end of this film, in the third act and how it ends, there's some light there. When you think about what actually happened and you think about the events that transpired throughout the whole film, it's a depressing film, man. A really depressing film. And it's just not a film that I care to revisit a whole lot. Like, I don't care to go on a depressing tour for 3 hours, It just, for me to give a film 4 stars, all the movies I've given 4 stars and higher are films that I love, are films that I'm drawn back to a lot. They're films that talking about them makes me want to go watch them. I don't have that with Interstellar. Talking about Interstellar doesn't make me want to go watch it again. It's not a movie that gives me great feelings and gives me great movie experience. It is a very good film. 3.5 stars on my list is a very good film. It's a great film. And that's what Interstellar is. It's worth checking out once. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend it. It's a very good film. But is it a film that I love? I wouldn't go that far, me personally. So everyone's different. You might watch Interstellar and think it's, one of the greatest films of all time. And you're not wrong. If that's your feeling, you're not wrong in that feeling. Film is subjective, and you get what you get out of a film. Everyone's viewing experience is different. So my viewing experience, at 3.5 stars. A very good film. I can appreciate the artistry in it. There's things that I do really love about it, the story being the main positive. But as far as the feeling and emotion of this film, very dark film, and just not a movie that does a whole lot for me and make me want to come back to it over and over again. So there you go, guys. Those are my thoughts on Interstellar. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think about this film? Have you seen this film? I try not to spoil anything. I don't think I did. Definitely go watch it if you haven't, and then let me know your thoughts. But we're getting close to the end of our Nolan series. We got 2 more films to review, Dunkirk and Tenet, and then hopefully by then Oppenheimer will be out, and I will drop a review on that one. So thanks again, guys, for watching, and until next time, as always, rock on.